I, 39, am married to Dave, 44, and he has a son named Avery, 19, and an ex-wife named Dianna, 42. Avery has always been hostile towards me and blamed me for his parents' divorce, despite his dad not meeting me until 3 years after. I have tried my best to spend time with Avery, and I've been respectful of all the boundaries he set with me. Avery still hates me. It was fine with me, as long as he didn't treat me like crap because he hates me. Well, Avery started treating me like crap when he found out his dad was marrying me. He threw a fit, saying his dad needed his permission before marrying me and that he wouldn't come to the wedding. His dad and I let it slide and sat down with Avery and Dianna to try and figure out why he was upset. It didn't work, and Avery refused to see us until the wedding. At Dave and I's wedding, Avery objected to us being married in front of everyone and asked to make a speech in front of everyone later in the night. In his speech, he told everyone what a horrible person I was and that I was responsible for his parents' divorce and that I was a dirty homewrecker. Dave drove Avery back to Dianna's, but the damage was done and several wedding guests assumed Avery was telling the truth. My wedding night was ruined because of this, and a good part of my family refuses to speak to me despite me explaining to them that this was not the case. Avery has continued to treat me like crap since then. He got mad at me once, so he dropped my cat off at a shelter 2 towns over and refused to tell me where he was until he had been put down. I wanted to keep my wedding dress after the wedding, and he tore it to shreds. Just 2 examples, I'll give more if anyone wants them. Finally, Wednesday, Dave and I had Avery over for dinner because Avery actually wanted to come. Long story short, when I went to get dessert and Dave wasn't there, Avery confronted me in the kitchen and began screaming at me and told me that I was a horrible person, as well as some other, not so nice things. Dave eventually came in, Avery left, and I got pissed. I told Dave that I was tired of his son constantly attacking me and treating me like crap because of something he knows didn't happen and that I'd put up with his lie for the last 6 years. I told him that he had to make a choice between me and Avery because I wasn't putting up with Avery's crap any longer, and if it was a requirement of being married to Dave, I'd be filing for divorce. Dave told me it wasn't fair to make him make this decision, and I told him it might not have been fair, but it wasn't fair of him to let his son harass and attack me for years. Am I the idiot for making my husband choose between me and his son? I mean, not the idiot, but don't even give him the ultimatum. Just leave. Even disregarding his kid's horrible behavior, your husband has shown you that he won't stand up for you, won't listen to you when you're uncomfortable, and isn't willing to properly parent his child. This kid needs therapy and anger management. Even with Avery out of the picture, do you want to stay with someone like that? His unwillingness to make a change seems to have put you through hell for the whole of your relationship. Not the idiot. You can't force your husband to choose between him and you, so you know the best choice is get a divorce. He is abusing you and your husband is an enabler. 6 years, that means he has been abusing you since he was 13 and never got over it. He got your cat killed, wrecked your wedding dress, got you disowned by your own family members. Avery is an adult now, so therapy is out of the question. Not the idiot. I'm curious as to what his mother has been telling him for years. Your husband should have put a stop to this a long time ago. Avery is an adult now, time to act like it, rather than entitled brat that wants mommy and daddy together again. His behavior before, during, and after the wedding is atrocious. His parents are letting him believe it's okay to act like this. He needs to apologize. As does your husband. My daughter, 10, is in 5th grade this year during this wonderful pandemic. She has been doing distance learning this entire school year. I have had several issues with this teacher since the start of the school year. I have spoken to her numerous times when things have come up. For instance, her teacher has told the students, including my daughter, to use Google whenever they need help figuring out a math problem while they are in school, rather than asking her for help. She also always has her microphone on, which wouldn't be bad, except she was talking badly about parents and saying horrible things about the kids. I don't know if she realized her microphone was on at that time, but it was extremely inappropriate, to say the least. She was very vocal about her political beliefs to the kids. Any kid that showed a different opinion was put on mute. I am a firm believer that teachers should not vocalize their political beliefs onto children. It is a very touchy subject for most people, especially now, and teachers should remain neutral so as to not sway young minds. Each time, I have emailed her about it. I get it, this is all new to us and mistakes happen. It is a learning curve for all of us, and that is okay. However, my daughter recently came to me because her teacher is now forcing them to write an essay about how they should get rid of turkey for Thanksgiving this year and go full vegetarian. The essay actually says that eating meat is unhealthy and goes on to talk about how unsanitary it is and how turkey contains salmonella and can kill you and that turkeys are killed inhumanely. It says to find the research to back up these claims and explain why it is better to be vegetarian. My daughter was not happy as turkey has always just been the tradition for our family. When my daughter brought it up to the teacher, my daughter suggested she could write an essay about how having turkey is a family tradition, or about the Pilgrims, or about why turkey is a tradition for Thanksgiving. Her teacher told her that, if she did not do the assignment as given, she would be given an F. When she told me, and then showed me, I was taken aback and quite unsure of what to say. I've never had a teacher be so blatant with their personal beliefs and then shove them onto the kids for a grade. She's already told my daughter she would fail her if she didn't do the assignment the way the teacher wants, so I am unsure if speaking to her privately would be beneficial to my daughter. Would I be the idiot if I reported her directly to the principal for forcing my daughter to write this essay? Would not be the idiot, and I say this as an extremely strict vegetarian myself. This teacher has repeatedly abused her position of power over her students and it's disgusting. She has every right to have her beliefs and enforce them in her own home, but she has zero right to do this to her students. You've gone the correct route by trying to talk with the teacher first on multiple occasions, and now it's time to go higher up. I hope you saved all the emails back and forth because the principal may want them as support to whatever reprimand they enforce. Not the idiot. I personally agree with the teacher's turkey stance, but that's not my place, nor her place to force students to write a paper about such a topic. It is inherently controversial and does not provide students with the opportunity to formulate their own arguments. If she wanted to ask a neutralized version of this question, she could ask the students to formulate an argument utilizing nutritional and other factors to determine whether or not they believe turkey should remain a Thanksgiving staple. There are ways she can subtly share her views without being foolish, lazy, and unaccepting of others' views. You're the idiot, this is a persuasive essay. In debate, you don't always get to choose your position. Being able to argue your opponent's side makes you a better debater and critical thinker. Until you have completed a regionally accredited teaching certification program and an appropriate bachelor's degree, you should stay in your own lane. Teachers are not trained monkeys performing for your pleasure and approval. They are highly trained and educated professionals. My family does huge camping trips every year or so, and we have maybe 30 little kids in our close family. We are a huge amount of brothers and sisters. My entire family is pretty athletic except for my youngest brother and his wife and son. My nephew is 8 years old and is terribly obese. He has joint issues on his knees, has that classic overweight knock-knee stance. He's cried miserable tears to me in private before because he has to wear enormous basketball shirts and nothing else which he hates, etc. I'm always trying to get him into physical activity. I've privately spoken to his parents because he feels left on of his cousins' games because they're all so much more mobile, etc. However, they are feeders and I've personally seen them buy and feed him things that should feed a family of 4 and he's able to demolish it in one go. When we go on these camps we usually go for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and this time I made sure I was way more active in the food prep so I could monitor what he ate. He's my favorite nephew and I felt he deserves way more than this. I swapped out his sodas for LaCroix. When it was breakfast time I loaded the kid up on bacon, eggs and sausage, but I held back the toast and maple syrup, and when it was s'mores time I made sure he had some s'mores, but I made them up myself with less chocolate and graham crackers and more strawberry and marshmallow. Stuff like that. Now my nephew is so big that I didn't see a difference, but I kept asking him how he felt every day, and the one thing I wanted more for him than anything else, he told me he felt awesome, and he was actually for the first time in his life running around with his peers. He would sweat like a little grubby booger and need to take time out, but he could actually play without being in tears from pain. At the end of the trip, I talked to him and told him that I had made some small swaps to his meal times, and wasn't it awesome that he was able to get more energy from it? He reacted in tears, hugged me so tight that I couldn't breathe, and was honestly so excited to make a grocery list with me and get the stuff he needs for a home. He asked if he had lost weight, and I told him that I honestly didn't know because we hadn't weighed him. He obviously has lost weight, but this isn't about weight, it's about health. But I told him he probably had built up a lot of strength. When we told his parents, my brother was super chill about it, but his mom flipped the hell out and told me that I had no right to interfere with her kids' food, that I should have spoken about a meal plan with them first, and that it was way inappropriate and crossing boundaries. The rest of my family bizarrely joined suit and told me I was way out of line and that I ruined my nephew's camping trip, and the only one who seems to see no wrong in what I did is my nephew. Even my more sensible siblings think I shouldn't have interfered. Not the idiot. I get how it would be considered rude to interfere in someone's parenting, but these parents are harming their child's health and quality of life through pure laziness of their own, and you just want to see his life a happy, healthy life like the other kids. If you were shoving whole broccoli down the kid's throat, I might be conflicted, but he clearly really wants this, and his parents have no consideration for that. I think their pride may be a bit stung, and they feel like crappy parents, but won't do anything to improve. Not the idiot. I could understand if they had made decisions that were healthy for him, and you overruled them. But you literally were trying to help him be healthier, and it's not like you fed him some wild things. You fed him the same stuff as everyone else, just a tiny bit less, and it's not like you starved him either, lol. Everyone's the idiot here. You shouldn't make parenting choices for people without telling them. I think they're crappy parents for the food stuff too, but the better way to do this would be to talk to the parents. If that doesn't work, guide the kid without making a production about it at the end. Your other relatives think you're the idiot because you publicly called out someone's parenting. And you made the trip focused on the kid's weight problem. Okay, I'm 90% sure that I am, but I've let it sit for a day, and I'm still hurt. So, I need some outside perspective. Before we get into this, I'm very aware that many people in the world get nothing at all for Christmas. I actually spend weeks leading up to Christmas volunteering, virtually this year, for the Battered Women's Shelter and a foster care organization. Prior to this Christmas, we quarantined for weeks and we all got tested. We are one of those families that doesn't go into stores, hurry curbside, or eat out, and we are all fortunate enough to work from home or be retired. Now, my mom does all the shopping for Christmas, full stop. She asked what I wanted, and because I'm pregnant I just asked for stuff for the baby, especially since I won't have a baby shower. She said, fine, I'll get that stuff, but what about you and your husband? Well, we really didn't want too much, so I threw together 3 ideas for each of us, but told her to please shop for baby. I also gave them a link to a registry with over 40 small items selected so they weren't on their own. Meanwhile, I got them what they asked for. My dad a Fire Stick TV and contributed to his Oculus. My mom some jewelry from Pandora and hand-blown glass cups she wanted. My brother, 24, who still lives with them, a case for the iPad they got him, and $100. My parents still do Santa. The whole bit. The cookies, the milk, the presents that magically show up. It's their choice. We don't ask for it, but we play along because it makes them happy. We come downstairs yesterday morning and everyone else has gifts from Santa. We do not. My dad just slips us a note saying Santa is done for us, so we sit there awkwardly while my mom, dad, and brother open all their gifts from Santa. They struggle to find gifts for me at all. They found plenty for my husband, gardening stuff he wanted, but the only real gift they gave me was a pair of Adidas shoes I didn't ask for, a perfume I don't wear, and a raiment I like. That's fine. All I wanted all along were things for the baby who they've known for weeks will be a boy. They gave us 3 Onesies and an ugly nursing pillow. The icing on the cake was my older brother, 40, and his family has a whole stack of presents to be sent to them. Just for him, we're talking power tools, drill sets, brand name clothes, and shoes just for him, not to mention his wife and kids. Here's what might make me an idiot. Not wanting to spoil everyone's fun by sulking, I chose to return 2 days earlier than planned. My husband is trying to be understanding, but said I may be the idiot for expecting anything at all and for leaving so unexpectedly. In fact, the entire family made passive-aggressive comments the entire day, but I ignored them all. The only person I felt bad for was my dad because he seemed truly hurt. It feels as if it was just me and my future son who was neglected. So, I left. Am I the idiot? Look, I'm not going to pretend this life you lead is not foreign to me. All of that. All those presents, holy Jesus. Having said that, not the idiot. If you didn't make a scene. If you didn't throw a tantrum and all that. Hey, you weren't happy and you deserve to separate yourself from a situation that makes you feel less than, unseen, and forgotten. 100%. I'm sure you'll get comments about entitlement and having to be grateful and all that. But there's an obvious discrepancy in the way you were treated and the way everyone else around was treated. That's not cool. Not the idiot. After reading your responses, it's clear that you are the family scapegoat. Don't expect your child to be treated any differently. What a pair of Scrooges for the way that they treated you. Not the idiot. They asked you what you wanted for Christmas, and from what you've said about everyone else's experiences, it doesn't seem like anticipating a certain caliber of gifts on Christmas is at all unprecedented or unreasonable in your family. If you're feeling resentful or hurt, then leaving and dealing with that independently is worlds better than just letting it escalate in the continued presence of the people you're upset with. I'm a 29-year-old guy who finished residency 2 ago and am now a pediatrician, making more than $160K. I got tired of being single for most of my life, so I downloaded a few dating apps and met this girl, 26, who works in customer service for a huge company about 9 months ago. We hit it off and officially became exclusive 3 months ago. Overall, she's a really great person. But there are a few things about her that bother me, and I'm not really sure if it's normal or not because I've never really been in an actual serious relationship. I always pay for everything on dates. I know that I make more than her, and it doesn't necessarily hurt me to always pay, but she doesn't even offer to pay or split the bill, and she just expects me to always pay. The first time she came over to my apartment, she was literally shocked. I live in a horrible one-bedroom apartment because I want to pay off my student loans as fast as possible, so I still basically live like a broke college student. She kept making comments about how I should move out and find a nicer place that suits a doctor. She wanted to introduce me to her family right away. I thought the relationship is too new to meet the parents, but she insisted. And when we went to their house, her parents only asked about my job and salary. When we went out and ran into someone she knows, she introduced me as her doctor boyfriend. These things, plus some other stuff, made me realize she doesn't really care about me, just that I'm a doctor. So I told her. She blew up, saying I'm insulting her and calling her a gold digger and that she's just proud of me for being successful. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. So what, she's proud of having a boyfriend who's a doctor, that doesn't make her a gold digger. And she doesn't like your broke college student style apartment, which I imagine most girls wouldn't either. What kind of background does she come from? Well, it's rude that the parents asked about your salary. It's understandable that parents want their children to date someone successful. I make significantly more than my girlfriend, and I almost always pay for things on dates. We've had the conversation in the past, and while I know she would love to contribute more, she's not really in a position to do so. Not the idiot, you're a display item for her that she shows off as her own accomplishment. The least important thing to tell someone right after you meet them is what you do for a living. For me at least. A lot of red flags, buddy. You are the idiot. Look, I think it's pretty common to want to meet the parents pretty early on if they are serious about you, and as far as her making comments about your horrible apartment, she's really just giving you her opinion on what she would do in your situation. If my girlfriend was making good money with a super stable job and didn't upgrade to a nicer place, I'd put my 2 cents in all the time. As far as introducing you by your job or what you're doing in life, I feel like that's not even close to out of the ordinary.